Hey everyone, this is MalaMaker here, and today I'm going to show you how to put together the MalaMask filter with common materials that you can find at your local stores. The first thing you're going to need to get is a 3M Filtrete 1900 MERV 13 filter. This is the filter that we have been testing with and actually have been sending off for lab results on. All lab results and filter research can be found in our research document. If you go to wiki.rivercitylabs.space, that's wiki.rivercitylabs.space, go to the COVID section or COVID-19 section on the left-hand bar and go to the MalaMask project. And under there, if you scroll down under supporting information and research, in the playbook section, you will find filter materials research. All research can be found there, and all results can also be found on that page. So what I'm going to do is show you how to build up the filter. So like I said, you're going to need a 3M Filtrete 1900 furnace filter. This furnace filter, the material is made of a non-woven melt-blown polypropylene. It is not fiberglass based, it is a polypropylene based. You will also need the cotton rounds to find in the research conclusion section. For this one, and what we are testing is the Swisspers regular cotton rounds. Now there are multiple types of cotton rounds that Swisspers sell. This is another one. This one here you can see is a premium cotton round. This one here is a regular cotton round. The premium is too thick for what we are finding. We're ultimately balancing the filter along with breathability. So to allow for the breathability, we want to use the regular cotton rounds. So I have, what I'm going to need is I'm going to need 5 circles. These circles are 57 millimeters in diameter and 2 cotton rounds. So I have my 2 cotton rounds here, and I have my 5 57 millimeter diameter furnace filters. Now, the cotton rounds are cut to the correct size for the MalaMask. Understand that. The MERV 13, just to let you guys know, we are sourcing these materials in bulk and actually sending them off to a fabric cutter to be able to cut thousands and millions of these circles. So if you would like to have these circles, please put in a materials request on the MalaMask page, and then we will ultimately send these out to you. And with all of this, we are only collecting for the cost of the materials, cost of getting these cut, and the cost of transportation. So we are not making any money on this stuff. We are literally doing this to try and help to the greater good of what's going on right now. So I have my 5 of my MERV 13, and I have my 2 of my cotton rounds. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these out accordingly. I am going to lay 1 MERV 13 on each out of the outsides. I am then going to layer a cotton round at the next layer on both sides. So this is a mirrored design, just FYI. Then I'm going to have 3 layers in between. Now, really, I'm just going to tell you guys this. You can go to the filter research and you can kind of get details in there. But I will tell you this. This combination has been tested, and it has also been confirmed as a proper layering by mask and filter researchers as a proper way of doing this. Ultimately, what you have here is the outer layer acts as a destruction layer. So this is the first line of contact that anything of a small particle size will hit. So when we're talking about a 0.3 micron size, ultimately that 0.3 micron is going to potentially damage or get stuck in this first layer. Then you have the cotton layer, and the cotton layer really isn't so much catching these particles, it is more slowing them down. And then you have ultimately in the middle the core, or the stop layer. That stop layer is ultimately going to catch the particles. These particles, as they go through the layers, are slowing down to the point where by the time they hit the stop layer, they're not damaging the stop layer, they are stopping at the stop layer. So that is key. And ultimately with the mirrored design, ultimately what comes in gets filtered, and ultimately what goes out also gets filtered. So you are breathing in through the filter and out through the filter. And in a hospital setting, N95s in a hospital setting, and you can find pictures of this in my research, they do not have a exit valve. So here I have a N95 mask that was purchased at the store, and you can see how it has an exit valve. Even though this is marked as an N95 mask, yes, it is an N95 mask, but really only about 40%, and this is based on the experts I've talked to, 40% of the air is really going through the filter, and the filter is really only protecting from the outside. And if you look here in this filter, it's really soft on the inside, so really what's happening is the outside of the mask is really only, or the mask is really only designed to filter from outside to in, whereas what we're doing here, it's both outside to in and inside to out. So this mask is actually not an N95 mask in the traditional definition of that. It is actually more fit to a respirator than a mask because of the exit valve. And if you actually pull up and look at a true respirator, it actually has both inlet valves and exit valves. So I actually have a respirator mask that is made by 3M, and that respirator mask actually has an inlet valve and an outlet valve. And the easiest way to identify these valves is usually there's a little rubber flap that is found in the mask, and typically, like if it's on the outside, you'll see the flap on the outside and it'll overlay the opening, and when you breathe out it'll push out. Or if it's on an inlet valve, you'll see that more on the inside and it'll overlap on the inside, and when you breathe in, you can actually see, if you were able to see it, it would actually open up to allow air in. So this is really more of a respirator than an actual true N95 mask. So these are layers. So literally then what we are going to do is we are going to then stack these up just in order, and I'm just going to do left to right. And what I'm going to do is just line up the circles, make sure that if it is a pleated, originally a pleated filter, that you make sure you keep the filter material flat, because if you ultimately have a layer where maybe it ends up like this, you're not going to get the efficiency of the filter like it was originally intended. So I have a filter housing that is outside of the mask itself. If this was assembled into the mask, it would ultimately be attached to the mask shroud, and a ultimately tightening ring here to compress this into the mask would be on the outside. So what I'm going to do is take my filter, put it into the filter housing, and then take the cap, and I'm literally going to screw the cap on. And you want to screw the cap on to where it is snug, because ultimately the idea here is you want to compress down the sides of the filter. That will make a true seal on this filter, that then when you breathe through the filter nose, it is not able to escape around the outside of the filter. So having it nice and snug, and I mean, it doesn't have to be cranked down, it just needs to be snug, ultimately compressing those sides, and then forcing all the air through the honeycomb, which is actually set up to be in the center of the filter. So really the actual edges of the cap on the inside just actually start at the edge of this honeycomb. So one benefit of this, and actually this is in talking with some N95 research and development experts, because this filter now cannot be touched, it actually is less exposed to contamination. Now, because of that, it is possible that this filter could be used more than just one time. But I will say this is not at my discretion. This is at the discretion of anybody that is using this and the healthcare professionals that are advising them on the usage of this mask and filter combination. We want you guys to be safe, and literally this project is built around giving you guys information so that you can make an informed decision on staying safe and healthy in this crisis. So this filter media too, also, if it is deemed appropriate by the proper channels and proper experts, this filter could also be dry heat sterilized in a heating apparatus that does not exceed 180 degrees Fahrenheit. So you could actually leave this in the housing and actually put it in a dry heat environment and sterilize this filter. When you sterilize it, we do not have a recommendation on time. Please, again, consult experts on that. But if you do choose to sterilize it, be under the understanding that over time, the more you breathe both into this filter and out through this filter will eventually clog up, and you will start getting a restriction, because as particles are caught in those filter layers, it will start plugging the microfibers that are in that the polypropylene microfibers will start clogging up. So understand that as you use this filter, the longer you use it, the less airflow you will have over time. So with that, that is a how-to on how to assemble the MalaMask, both filter and the filter housing for your use in the MalaMask. Anyways, with that, I'm going to sign off, but if you guys have any questions, please visit wiki.rivercitylabs.space. Go to left-hand bar, COVID-19, and find the MalaMask project, and you will find an email there if you guys have any questions on the mask. Anyways, with that, happy making. Anybody that's making these parts, please also reach out to the MalaMask official page. We are looking for people to help make this stuff, and we would like to keep this effort ongoing. So please, if you do have any resources in terms of vacuum forming, 3D printing, silicone casting, CNC equipment, please let us know. And then we are also coordinating to help those people who are becoming nodes to help distribute these materials. We are coordinating with manufacturers to ultimately help get these parts to you guys faster. So anyways, with that, happy making. This is MalaMaker signing off. Thank you guys.